Hey guys, Splicewave here, and I'm back with another Playing PlayStation Home in 2022 video. I know it's been a while since I last updated PS Home Offline, but I'm happy to say after months of there being very little cache data, I've managed to find enough new content to be able to create a new content update, this one being update 3.10, and at the end of the video, I've got some important announcements to make, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's get into the video. And to start off the video, here we are at Hillside Open House, which is by far the best space added in this update, as it is completely new, and overall just looks incredible. I remember seeing the thumbnail for this space many months ago, and when I tried to find it in the cache data that I had, I could only find it in encrypted form, so I assumed that I would never be able to add this space into PS Home Offline, but fortunately, I have found it without encryption, and I'm so glad I was wrong about that, as here it is. I really love the scenery here of all the hills surrounding the house. There's lots of reasons I could give for why I love this space, so instead, let's move on to another new space. And here we are at IRM Seaside New Year, and while this is not a new space, it certainly does look like it, because this space was in the previous update, which was update 3.09, but it had an issue where the sky was missing, and that resulted in it being the default blue sky, which coupled with the lighting for this space, made it look really bad overall in my opinion. And so in this update, I fixed that issue, and to me, this looks absolutely amazing. And that's not all I've changed. I've also made it so that underwater minigame where you can find treasure in the normal version of IRM Seaside also works here too now, as indicated by the underwater oxygen bar at the top. And just to try it out, let's try and find one of those sparkling lights. There's one over there. And I got it. So just like the normal version, this minigame works here too. And while I was working on this space, I discovered that it actually has two different skies it can have, and this is one of them, but because I didn't want the other one to go to waste, what I did was made it its own unique space. Now to avoid confusion, this space I'm currently in is the same IRM Seaside New Year that was included in update 3.09, but the one I'm about to go to will be included under the list of spaces added in update 3.10, which I will call IRM Seaside New Year Night, in order to distinguish them when they are side by side. So with that said, let's go there so I can show you the difference. And here we are at IRM Seaside New Year Night, and obviously this is just the same space, but the only difference is obviously the sky being night instead of a sunset, and obviously the moon being there. But I still think it's worth having both of them, as both just look absolutely amazing in my opinion. Anyway, let's move on to another new space in this update. And here we are at the Diamond Beach Yacht Club open house, and if you look over there, you can actually see the Diamond Beach Yacht Club and Marina space, and over there is the Diamond Beach Mansion. And this space here, I didn't even know was a thing until I found it when making this update, if I'm honest, but I'm really glad I found it for reasons I'm going to show you. First reason is at the front of the yacht where I am currently, you can simply just walk straight up to the top of the yacht from this side. That freedom is what I really like to have in spaces, which is why I'm glad to have the space in offline now. And if we go over here, we can go up these stairs and just sit in the hot tub. Just like so. Really do love these features in PS Home. And then if we go down here and go down these stairs, it'll bring us to our own personal quarters. But obviously this is the open house, so it's not interactive. And just to clear up any confusion, these doors don't open, but you can just simply walk through them like so. And the shower is always on. And then if we walk around here, or no, not down the stairs, if we walk around here, we get to the front of the ship. You can't actually sit in here. I assume this is both a mini game and only in the apartment version, but still a nice detail to have. And then down here, this is where that little gap you might have seen at the front of the ship leads to. Just leads up to here. And then at the bottom of the ship, where those stairs led to, which is where we're going to go now, takes us down to where the kitchen is. And here we are. Looks quite nice. Very nice indeed. Then down here, back of the ship, where obviously jet skis and boats can be, along with a few seats. And overall, a really nice space. I'm glad I have it in this update now. So that's all the spaces I'm going to show you that are in this update. There are more, but there's not much to say about them, so instead I'm going to show you other things that have changed in this update, so let's get into that. And here we are at Granzella Apartment. Now this space was added to offline in update 3.03, but had 2 flaws. One of them was that this space was missing the water here, and there was nothing to see without it, like there's nothing below it. It was just an empty blue void, and the boats over there would just look like they're floating. And the other issue was the missing sky, which as you can see has been fixed. And now the space looks as good as it does now. And I keep saying this, but wow! That looks great. That water looks great. Anyways, let's move on to another space that I fixed. And here we are at Inferno Apartment, which again is not a new space, but it is a space that now has its intended atmosphere. And this is by far the best out of all the ones I fixed in this update. And for comparison, here's what the space looked like in the previous update, and it does not look good there. It looks like the flame core level from Sonic 06 after Silver and Blaze defeated Iblis. And like I said before, there are many spaces that have had their atmospheres fixed, like this one here, which you can find out by checking the video description where the patch notes are for this update will be included. Anyways, it's time to move on to something else which I've kept a secret until the release of this update, because it is a big change that I've made as a result of that PS Home clothing website going down a few months ago. So in the new base build for PS Home Offline, I've added a ton of the clothing from said clothing website, and I'll show you what it's like now. So if we head into wardrobe, and then just as an example, we go to outfits, as you can see, there is much more clothing than before. And due to the sheer amount of clothing, some of the thumbnails haven't loaded, as you can see here. But that shouldn't stop you from equipping any of it, as we can see here, if you want to. And just as a reminder, the load/save option, which is here, doesn't work. But that doesn't mean that you can't save outfits. And fortunately for you, I've made a tutorial on how to do that, which will of course be linked in the video description. And for those of you who do not want this excessive clothing in your build of PS Home Offline, don't worry, as in the next few days I will be making a tutorial on how to remove the added clothing from your build of PS Home Offline. And one last thing about clothing for this video, and this is regarding people who downloaded the base build before update 3.10 was released. The standalone update that you can download from my PS Home Builds update channel in my Discord server does not contain all of this extra clothing, and this extra clothing is only part of the new base build from PS Home Build in my Discord server, as well as the video descriptions on my how to play PlayStation Home on PC and PS3 video. So if you already had the base build and want all the clothing in PS Home Offline, you will need to re-download the base build again in order to have it. Now that I've cleared that up for you all, I've got one last announcement before I end the video. You may have noticed there's not as much content as previous updates if you discount the clothing added in the base build, which I don't count as it's not new content. The reason for this lack of new content is due to a shortage of cache data I've had in the last few months. And for those of you who don't know, cache data is the fuel of this project, and without it, I can't make new updates because new content comes from cache data. Much like how if a car doesn't have any fuel, it can't drive anywhere. So if you want to help me out so I can continue to add more content to PS Home Offline, then please consider donating your PS Home cache data, or getting someone you know to donate their cache data, for which I have also made a video tutorial on, which is of course linked in the video description. And for those of you who do decide to donate their cache data, you will receive access to a channel on my Discord server where you can see early previews of anything new that's coming to PS Home Offline in the next update, so there's an incentive to do so. If you have any questions about the process, please let me know and I'll answer them as best as I can. And speaking of my Discord server, I have a new Discord server which of course is linked in the video description. My old Discord server has been largely abandoned and I won't be using it going forward, so if you're still in it, feel free to leave it and join my new Discord server, where I'll be posting new builds and updates when they come out, as well as hosting events. Anyways guys, that brings us to the end of the video and I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, over the next few days I'll be making a tutorial on how to remove the added clothing from PS Home Offline, so stay tuned for that. But until then, take care and peace.